Hi guys, welcome to SMI Hub. I hope you guys are having a fabulous day today. Welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be discussing something people have been asking me to talk about, and it's the Canada tourist visa. If you're interested in it, how to bring your spouse over with the visit visa, how to bring your mom, your dad, your friends, your siblings, grandmother, whatever, stay tuned. So I'll start with the letters. As you all know, almost every Canadian application has some sort of letter attached. It's funny, but that's just the way things are. And I think the reason why Canadian applications typically come with a letter is because, because of the type of application it is. So it's a Dropbox application where you just submit your application, no interview, no, all of those things. So you don't get to meet with the visa officer, you don't get to interact and say your side of the story. So I feel like letters are very important in your application because they communicate what you would have told the visa officer if it was in person. I think it's very important to take all your application letters seriously, especially if you are applying for the first time and you don't have that very strong travel history. So today, as I'm talking about tourist visa, there are different scenarios. There is tourist visa when you are applying maybe for your mom. Now, a person applying for his or her mom who, the application is sort of going to be different from if the person is applying to bring his or her sibling, or if the person is applying to bring a friend or a family member. The scenarios are so different. I feel like it's worth it to do different videos for these scenarios. But in this video, I will just try to merge everything together and try to address all these different scenarios. And I hope that you will find something to take out of it depending on your circumstance. So for the letter, you first start with introductory letter. That is, the applicant himself or herself will write an introductory letter, and this letter should address all the sections of your application. So it should address your proof of fund. That's very important. It should introduce you. So you want to start with introduction as usual. Talk about yourself, who you are, and where you're from, what's your date of birth, those regular things that the visa official should know. And then you want to talk about your employment. Now, I'll say the most important aspect of a visit visa application or a tourist visa application is, number one, your proof of funds. Your proof of fund. Number two, your home tie. It has to be very solid, very strong. Number three is your employment or your employability. How employed you are at home. What do you have going for you back at home? You need to show to the visa officer that you will return, and it's very important with this application, much more than with the student visa. So with the student visa, the home tie thing might not really factor in as much. But for a visit visa, you're going to visit and you have to prove that you're coming back, especially if you are young. When I say young, I mean between the age of, let's say, 18 to like 50. So you have to prove that you are not going to run away or abscond when you get to Canada. And that's just the essence of everything. If you understand this, if you understand what they are really looking for, it will help you to make an application that stands out. So back to the letter, when you're introducing yourself, you need to address your proof of funds, talk about how much you have, clarify everything. So if you've attached a lot of statements, this is a good place to summarize how much everything is. So if everything altogether is 30,000 Canadian dollars or it's equivalent in your currency, make sure you mention the exact amount you have in liquid fund. And also you want to talk about your home tie in the letter, and this home tie can be a number of things ranging from your employment. I feel like employment is a very solid home tie. For instance, if you've been given 2 weeks leave to come and then go back, you want to talk about this employment. And especially to you guys that are within the age of, you are still very young, you're not coming to visit your child who is a student or something like that, you are not retired. So if you are in that sort of age, you need to show what you're doing, and this is where you explain. This is what you explain in the employment section. Talk about where you are working, how long you've been working there, how much you are making, and the fact that you've been given leave, I believe, for like maybe 2 weeks or 3 weeks or a month to go. And if you have a business, then talk about how much you're making from your business, the fact that your business is registered, establish the fact that your business has been running for a couple of years, and so you won't want to like leave the business and just abscond. So it's important to establish your employment history or your business history or whatever. Very, 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 very important for the visit visa. And then the next section, we're still talking about the letter, right? So the next section is the home tie, which employment is still under home tie. So for home tie, if you can include employment and then include your property, if you have houses, if you have lands, mention each and every one of them. So I find out that people have all of these properties back home, but they don't talk about it in the application. Some people don't even know they have things that they can use as home tie. So land, property, and all of that is a good part of your home tie. As I said earlier, employment is also a good part of your home tie. You can just put it under the subtopic of home tie in your letter. Talk about your employment and then your properties, okay? And then another good one is, sorry, I have a note here that I'm looking at. I want to make sure that I don't forget anything, okay? So another good one is your family. So if you're a family person, you're married, your husband is back home, you are just going for, you know, for a trip and that you'll be back, or you have kids, or you have siblings, or you have people that are dependent on you, special needs siblings, or things like that. Include this in your application. This is a very good form of home tie, a very good form of home tie. So make sure you talk about it in the home tie section of your letter, and always write that, oh, see document attached in the application. So always refer it to a document that you are using to prove it. Okay, so if you have a spouse or something, you can refer to the spouse's passport data page, you know, or your marriage certificate that just shows that, oh, you are married indeed and you have a spouse back home. So that's that about the letter. I have talked about introduction, talked about proof of funds, clarify it clearly. I've talked about home tie. Make sure it's explanatory and well detailed, and I have talked about employment, which is still also a part of home tie. So if you might have some additional things to talk about, like in a visit visa, travel history is so important. This is where you can shine with your travel history. Unlike the study visa, there are so many people that they're not well traveled and they get a study visa easily because they have, you know, all other things intact. But for visit visa, you can get a visit visa without having a solid travel history. But if you have, make sure you write about it. This is where you really, really want to hammer on the fact that you are well traveled, because there is no other proof that you come back other than the fact that you've been traveling and have been coming back before. So make sure you talk about it, no matter wherever you might have been, maybe even if it's not somewhere so like far from your home country, or even if it's still within the continent where you live, doesn't matter. Make sure you mention it in your statement or your letter. So now we move to the letter of invitation. Every tourist visa application or visit visa application typically has an invitation letter attached to it, except if you are going for vacation. In that case, no one is inviting you to come over. You are going of your own volition to just enjoy, right? For that one, you don't need to have a letter of invite. That's why I said the scenarios are different. It's a very, you know, tricky application because it's on case-by-case basis. So it depends on your circumstance. But for you guys that are being invited by someone, for instance, a student in Canada is inviting you because you are her mom. Like, I invited my mom over to come and stay with me when I had my baby. I had to write a letter of invitation for her, and she wrote a letter of introduction. Of course, I looked through the whole thing. It was basically me writing it, but she had a letter of introduction that she wrote, and I wrote a letter of invitation telling the visa officer that I'm inviting my mother to come. And in this letter, I made this separate from my own letter, right? Because she has talked about all this home type proof of fund that I mentioned earlier. Well, Me personally, I introduced myself. I introduced what my status was here in Canada. I introduced my husband, who is currently working. So I talked about my situation, the fact that I just had a baby, and that's what we call purpose of invitation. So I just had my baby, and I want her to come and experience her grandchild and to help me to, you know, recover emotionally, physiologically, spiritually, in every area. So I want her to come over for that purpose. So that's the purpose of invitation. So an invitation letter must always establish the purpose of invite. Must always establish, like, why are you being invited? Is she your sister and you want her to come over? You've missed her. That's a legitimate purpose, right? You've missed her. You want to see her. You want to, you know, be with her for a couple of weeks, and she also is looking for how to, you know, she wants to take a vacation. So you guys decide that, okay, you know what, come over and spend time with me, and then you do your vacation, move, you know, go around, move around, we just tour around, and I will have your company. That's the purpose of invitation. So it depends on your circumstance. As I said, if you're inviting your grandmother, for instance, you have to state why you're inviting her in that purpose. So that letter must be written by the person you are going to visit, not by you. It has to be signed by that person you are going to visit. So you know, people make that mistake where they write all these letters themselves, and they let it show in the tone that they are the ones writing it. I mean, you're writing a letter of invitation and you are signing it, you the applicant. Are you inviting yourself? So the person inviting you must write that letter, sign that letter, and date that letter. And there is something called invitation on good faith. Like, on good faith, like, it means that there are things that you cannot prove. For instance, when I was applying to be my mom had some money set apart, but I took the brunt of the financial part, and I showed the proof of fund on her behalf. I wrote it in the letter that, oh, I am going to be covering all her expenses. And Canada took it in good faith that I'm telling the truth, because there's no way I can prove it other than showing them my statement of account. I can only tell them, right? I didn't even transfer it to her, because I'm telling them I will cover her for that period, because I was the one that brought her. I'm the one that is bringing her all over, you know, I'm the one, so I should be the one to cover it, right? So I told them in good faith. That's what we call in good faith. So your invitation letter is written in good faith on the premise that you will fulfill your promise. You will cover the person you are inviting's expenses. Okay, so if you are inviting someone and you are planning to cover the person's expense, just state it out in your letter of invitation. Say you're going to cover it, both the whatever it is you're going to cover, or if you're covering part of it, state what you're going to cover and state what the applicant is going to cover. And make sure you refer the visa officer to your statement of account in the application. So see my statement of account that shows I have the sum of 15,000 Canadian dollars to cover as I have promised. Okay, so make sure it's explanatory, because when the visa officer is looking at the application, he's seeing a letter from the applicant and he's seeing a letter from the person inviting, and he doesn't even know who is going to cover the expenses. So if you are in that kind of scenario where you're inviting someone now, make sure you state it clearly who will be covering it. Is it you that is inviting, or the student, or the applicant that is coming? I mean, the person that is applying. Take note of that. So the letter of invite must show, as I said, the purpose of invitation, must show the sponsorship, who is covering the expenses, and must show the proof of fund breakdown if the inviter is the one covering the expenses. Okay, and for the letter of invitation, you don't have to talk about home tie and all of that. You are just inviting the person. You don't have to. You're already in Canada. You don't have to establish any home tie. Is that person coming that needs to establish home tie? So if you are going to talk about home tie in any case, you have to make it. You have to talk about that person coming. Home tie. I don't know if I explained this correctly, or if you understand me well, rather. So using myself as an example, so the only place when I touched on home tie in my letter of invitation for my mom was just to say my mom is employed in Nigeria. She's worked for years, you know, as so, and now she's now they head where she is, and there is this letter from the organization where she's working showing that she has worked for so amount of years, and she's surely coming back because she's been there for a long time and she has not retired. And of course, you can't just leave all of that. All the things she has. So in our application, I made sure we included everything. I mean, too much is never too much, as I said. Everything from her employment letter, all the letters she had been getting at different points when she was being promoted, we included that. We got a letter from her boss. So you don't have to get the letter from like the head of wherever you're working. It could be very difficult to get that kind of letter, but at least get a letter from your supervisor or from your boss that just grants you a leave of some weeks. That should do. So we got that kind of letter from her, for her, and we got all these things that just establish employment, because we felt that was what she had for her. She had her employment. She's been working for years where she is, and she has that, right? And she has slowly risen up along the way in rank. So we had that going for her, so we used it, we maximized it. And for home tie, you don't have to talk about that. As I said, let the applicant talk about her or his own home tie properties, how he or she plans to manage it when he or she is in Canada, all of that. Make sure that you thoroughly talk about it in the letter. Now, if you are a person that has changed your name, change of name can be straightforward or can be complicated. Maybe you had a maiden name and then you have a married name and then you change your name again. If there is those kind of complications in your application, make sure you explain it thoroughly in the letter. The letter is what you use to explain all these weird things or things that you feel like are not clear. Okay, so explain it thoroughly and make sure you refer to all the change of name document that you have in the application. That's for you guys that have changed your name. Okay, so now another scenario is if the person is applying for a tourist visa for him or herself. So for the purpose of this video, I'll say for himself. So if you just want to travel to Canada just for tourism, for whatever, but no one is inviting you. So in your letter of invite, all you just have to do is introduce yourself. You are the one that will write it now. Nobody will write it for you because you are bringing yourself to Canada. So introduce yourself, talk about what you want to do. So this, what you make sure you hammer on is your purpose of visit. Excuse me. So your purpose of visit, what you want to come and do there. And make sure you refer the visa officer to your round trip tickets. Okay, and your flight, your hotel reservations, because when you are bringing yourself, you don't have maybe someone's house that you're going to stay. Like in my case, when my mom was coming, she was staying in my house, so I didn't have to talk about hotel reservation and all of that. Like it's a given, right, in the form that she'll be staying in my house, because in the form you ask to fill, there's a place where they ask where the person will be staying and all of that. So it's already a given. But if you are traveling of your own accord, then you have to refer the visa officer in your letter to your hotel reservation, your itinerary, that's a list of the places you'll be visiting, the tickets. You can reserve all these things without paying. You don't have to pay, you can just reserve it. So it's very, very important, because it shows that you've booked your round ticket, meaning your to and your fro, meaning you're coming back. Even for parents that are going to visit, they also need to book round tickets to travel. Nobody will let you board the plane with a one-way ticket and a visit visa. They won't allow you, right? But a parent might not need to show a reservation for that flight in the application. I can tell you, my mom did not show that while applying, and she was given a visa, no stress. Okay, so you don't have to. If you are going to visit someone, like maybe your child, I don't think you do. you can decide to, is fine. You can decide to reserve a flight, it's fine, but you don't have to. But if you are going to visit a friend now or a sibling, it might be a different scenario, because I feel like for what do they call this, seniors, I feel like visa officers are usually more flexible with parents, moms, grandmothers. I feel that way than people that are like agile and are still very young. When I say young, I mean between 18 and 50, or 18 and 40-ish, you know. I feel like they are more strict with those kind of people. So if you fall into that age bracket, then you might want to do your reservation, flight reservation, even though you are going to see a family member, just to be on the safe side. So for proof of fund, I feel like this is so important for the visit visa. But if you go online and check, you really can't see a set amount that is required for proof of fund. Maybe I'm missing it somewhere, because I remember sitting down online when I wanted to apply for my mom and searching, but I didn't find anywhere where CIC gives a particular amount. I found for the study visa and for open work permit, but I did not find for visit visa. And I feel like they don't want to give a particular figure because it's on case-by-case basis. So as much as you can present for money, present it. Like for visit visa, the more the better. Like it works best if you have a lot of money, because Canada tourist visa is just so difficult to get based on what I've heard. Fortunately, the only visit visa I've applied for my mom, it was successful, and God help me, as I always say. My faith is like, I believe in God, and I always pray to the Lord Jesus. I just pray in Jesus' name that God help me. And you know, I was helped. Our visa took 2 weeks. 2 weeks. So it was very fast. So far, I've not gotten a denial before, and I give God all the praise. And I feel like if you guys can implement these things I'm talking about, it's going to be successful. Prove your funds very well. Bring a lot of money, as much as you can gather. Make sure that the money is there in your account for at least 6 months. Don't send lump sum when your account does not have good inflow and outflow of cash. So an account that has good inflow and outflow works best, okay? And you should let the money you're going to present be there for 6 months. If you're just getting the money, it's better to wait. Better to wait so that you have it there 6 months, than to use it, except if you can explain where the money is coming from. So if you have a lump sum coming in, which is possible, explain where it's coming from. As I explained in proof of funds for study visa, it's always important to explain every lump sum. So probably you sold something, or an investment yielded something, or you opened up a tied down money somewhere. Just explain how it came in. Don't just assume that they will overlook it. For visit visa, it's really, really important to prove that you have that money. Okay, to prove that you have that money. Very, very, very important. And then number 2, if you are coming and you are young, between 18 and 40, you're not coming to see a child or live with a child or help a child. You're just coming maybe to stay with your sibling for a moment of time, or to visit, or to travel, or to do tourism, or whatever. Make sure that you have the money yourself in your account. I don't know if sponsorship is a thing with visit visa. If you're going to be sponsored by someone, let the money be transferred to your account. That just reminds me, I did apply for a visit visa, a Schengen visit visa. It was a research visit, so I was being sponsored, and so the money was transferred to my account, even though my account had very terrible cash inflow and outflow, meaning I didn't have a lot of money going in and out because there was no money then, okay? But they transferred that money to my account, the sponsoring organization, and that was all I showed. So it was a lump sum, really. It was a lump sum, but I could explain that, oh, it came from this scholarship fund, okay? And they gave me the visa then when I went to Europe. So that money was lump, but it worked. As I said, if you're going to use lump sum in your account, let it be explained well. How it came about. And if you are going to be sponsored for Visit Visa, let them send it to your account. Don't let it be promissory. Let it be in your account. That's the best bet for getting I hate people being denied. I hate it so much. I feel like the earth is the Lord and the fullness thereof. Everybody has a right to travel wherever they want to, if not because of circumstances. A visa shouldn't be something this hard to get. It should be something that you want to travel, you are able to travel. So I always try my best to let people know as much as they need to know to make their application a success. Okay, so if you're going to use fund for Visit Visa, that's the summary of all my talk. Hey, this video is going to be very lengthy today. If you're going to use a sponsored account or whatever, let the money be transferred to your account. That's the best bet. I don't like the blanket statement that if you've not traveled before, you can't get a Visit Visa, you can't get a visa. I don't think that is correct. The Schengen visa I got then, I had never traveled before, at least out of the country, and I got it. I got it. So I feel like it's one day you will start traveling. It's just one day, and it might be this one, right? So just make sure that you amplify your strengths. So we can't have everything, right? You might not have enough travel history, but you might have a lot of money, and you might have good employment tie to your home country. You might have like a sibling or a strong purpose of visit why you are going to visit the person. Maybe your child is there or something. So just amplify your strength in your application. Not that you cover your errors or whatever. If you feel like there is something that is a red light on your application, like maybe a lump sum or something, talk about it, right? But don't start like amplifying your weaknesses. Maybe you don't have travel history. Don't start saying in your statement that, oh, I don't have travel, even though I don't have travel history. Don't just talk about it, just leave it. You don't have to talk about it if you don't have it. That's just my opinion. But if you have it, talk about it. Oh, I've been to so countries and I always come back. I'm definitely coming back. And just show that you're a person of value. You're going to do something. You just want to have fun. You just want to, visit, and you want to come back. I mean, everyone has the right to explore the world. I've talked about employment, but I just want to talk about things you can use for your employment. So you can use different things to show proof of employment. Make sure you get a letter from your place of work. That is the most important. You can use all your employment letters, your pay stub, your promotion letter, all those things. You can use it to establish employment, and you need to really establish this. It doesn't matter what you're doing, whether you're a plumber, you're a carpenter, you're a teacher. Employment is employment, right? So just establish it. That's all that matters. And if you're a business person, you want to gather all your business things like your registration document, your business what's it called now, your business revenue, statement of account for your business, all of those things that will really establish that you have a business presence in your home country. And now I want to talk about you guys that are applying for your spouse. You are a student, you don't want to apply for your spouse through work permit. I always strongly encourage people to apply for the spouse through open work permit, because it usually have a higher rate of positive outcome. You can watch my video on how to apply for open work permit for your spouse. But if your spouse is working and you don't feel like you're mentally there yet to come over to Canada on a long term, you can apply with the Visit Visa or for the Visit Visa. Just make sure you include your what's it called now? Enrollment. Your enrollment letter, your admission letter, if you have a funding letter in school, what else? Yeah, those are the things that, your marriage certificate and all of those things that just ties you to your spouse. And now your spouse has to include the proof of fund, all his home tie, including pension, land, properties, all of that, to just establish that he has that home tie and is coming back. Now for you guys that want to travel for a short-term purpose, maybe for a conference, I feel like your own is just open and short, it's straightforward. Just like my Schengen visa that I applied for to go for a research a 3-month research training. So it's sort of like that. So maybe your conference is 2 days or 3 days. Make sure you include all the things that tie you to that conference, like your invitation letter from the conference. If you have sponsorship, make sure you include your sponsorship letter, your funding letter, your round ticket. It still applies to you, your reservation, your itinerary, all of those things. Make sure you include everything. And you will need an invitation letter from the conference. Don't forget that. Your own personal introductory letter must also go into it. And I think I have touched on everything that is necessary for a successful tourist visa. I wish you guys all the best in your application. And if you have any question or comment or anything you think you want me to do, please let me know in the comment section. Also, don't forget to like I always forget that part. Don't forget to like this video. I always put a lot of love in my video, just tell you as much as I can to make your application a success. So don't forget to give me a thumbs up. It helps in encouraging me to keep making videos. And also don't forget to subscribe. And yes, I'll see you guys in the next video. Until the next time, bye guys.